Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of SuperFantaFi. This being a show where I talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and/or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about SurrealEstate Season 3, Episode 4. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, this episode revolves around Zoe's clients. It ends up being the Eons, these, what's it? Or was it Enons? I forgot their last name. But it's a pair of three siblings, two brothers and a sister. Their mom, they just buried her. And now it's about dividing like the assets that were left behind, like the house. And they basically have to decide who gets what and what just gets sold off. But the siblings are at each other's throat. Even at their mom's funeral, they couldn't stop bickering about this or that. Embarrassing themselves in front of the guy who's giving kind of like the eulogy. Not eulogy, but the priest or whoever who is, saying the prayer and stuff like that. It's like, oh, that's all kinds of messed up. And now Zoe has to deal with these siblings. Obviously, this episode also tackles with her feeling a little stressed out about the position because she feels like she doesn't belong. So she's stopping by the office a lot more this episode just because it's her comfort zone. And it's also easy to obviously get trapped in your comfort zone. I know that better than anyone. And so it's like, right, she got the push to kind of go out of the nest and go to law school, and she works at a law firm now. But the problem is she just doesn't feel like it's her place anymore. And it's just she misses all this and being around the people she cares about. It's actually Susan that gave her the advice, making the whole parallel to like a lobster that, basically sheds its shell, and then kind of its bottom like layer of skin is like so soft that it has to kind of hide away until the new shell grows back. Kind of using that as a parallel for her, just saying like, just give yourself more time. Like, it's easy just to kind of feel, because so much happened so fast. You went to law school, got fast tracked to end up getting hired at a company before you even got like your past the bar and stuff. So it's a lot happened quickly, but it's like you gotta stick it out and figure it out. Because she's like, right, when I came here, when I first started working here, it wasn't, the easiest thing, but eventually you found that equilibrium and found your place. And so I was kind of wondering if they were setting up like, oh, will Zoe just come back? But it's like, no, it was just kind of like this whole episode was to kind of give her the push she needed to stay where she is. She shed her shell. Now she's gotta wait for the new one to come around and find her, new place at, figure things out at her work. But either way, I thought it was such an interesting development with the siblings, their back and forth, especially because each one was individually visited by like almost like a evil doppelganger of themselves, telling them stuff like, oh, remember when your siblings did this to you, X, Y, and Z? Which at first I was like, and especially because like we first saw it with Barry, which I thought was so interesting, and you see it again with Sherry and Arlo. Each one of them wasn't shocked. It's not like, oh my God, this is the first time. It's like they've had this experience regularly. I was like, oh, that's interesting that it's not even a shock to you. You're just like, oh, what do you want from me now? But yeah, each fake doppelganger is meant to like spur some negative thoughts into them about their sibling. Because even they were like, wait, I actually don't remember. He's like, yes, of course you do. This happened in 12th grade or 8th grade and yada, 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 and Thanksgiving. All this stuff, but you're kind of like, well, none of that did happen, huh? Because they're all being fed stuff that they don't remember, but now that's being used to fuel their anger towards each other. Of like, oh, your siblings are trying to sabotage you. Anytime you try to do something, they would kind of like screw it up for you. And it's not until there was a neighbor who kind of called them out on their BS, because she talks about the fact is that the kids always used to talk to themselves, and she's like, always very disturbing stuff. So you're like, oh wow, this stuff has been happening since they were kids. They're full-grown adults now, so it's been happening for decades. And at first I was wondering, like, is it the mom doing this to them? That's actually kind of sad. Like, at first I was like, is this some twisted, like, get back at your children because they're arguing so much? And was there meant to be, like, a lesson in this? When we found out it actually wasn't even the mom. The children have a half-sister named Summer who was taken from the mom and put up for adoption and sadly was killed by one of her foster brothers when she was 15. It's like, Jesus, that's dark and depressing. But yeah, she's now back and she's haunting her siblings. She's been haunting them for years. The siblings, because it's her mind is like, mom left me behind and never found me and never went looking for me and went off and started a new family, a happy family. Why should they have all this success and stuff like that? It's interesting because like the key pieces were there over and over again, because I'm assuming all the stuff that she was like, all the siblings going to blame on each other, I'm assuming some of that was Summer's actual experience with her foster family, the foster brother in particular that killed her. Because like dinner, when Arlo was cooking and his siblings were chastising his cooking, he thought about stabbing his sister. I think it was him stabbing her in the neck. So, but yeah, because the brother stabbed Summer, the foster brother stabbed Summer multiple times. You're just like, oh god, that's just depressing as hell, dude. But yeah, she just wanted a payback, and makes them suffer to feel the way she did. Luckily, Luke showed up with their mom, and she was there to say, like, right, I tried looking for you, and I never stopped thinking about you. Like this quilt that was so important to me that the siblings were like, well, it's from this, it's from this, it's from that. The quilt was actually made from like one of her blankets from when she was like a baby, and it's like, I never forgot you. And Summer took a lot of her rage out on her mom, but it's just kind of like, no, like, it's time for us to go. But it's like, this way, there's some silver lining to it. It's sad that the siblings never got to know their sister. They're just now finding out. Not only did we find out we have a half sister, we found out she died years ago, and she was murdered. And now we're also, oh, mom, but mom's here to take your sister with her, so that, I mean, at least she's able to let go of some of that anger, and in the eternity that is the afterlife, at least your mom and your sister are together. Because the whole point they had at the beginning was like, I think it was Arlo in particular, it was like, until we're kind of reunited, so it's like, I don't know, it just, once again, it's meant to be a silver lining, but it's just, when you just sit with it long enough, it's just, oh, that's depressing and that's sad. But there is some silver lining that at least Summer and their mom are together until, the time comes and they're going to all be together as a family. So that's kind of nice and sweet at the very least. So, and obviously the siblings don't have, a devil on their shoulder whispering, or dead half sibling whispering in their ears negative thoughts. The whole situation is the siblings came to a consensus of, let's split up all of this stuff, and we're going to sell the house, and we're going to split the money 4 ways. Each one of us is going to have a third, but then a fourth, sorry. And then the fourth piece will go to, it's something in the name of Summer that's related to children. I forgot exactly what it was, but it was kind of, I think, something revolved around, helping children, like in Summer's situation. Like, I think kind of maybe an adoption home, child. Like I said, I don't want to specify it because I can't remember the specifics of what it was, but it was something related to Summer, which was, once again, another silver lining to it. So that was kind of a nice wrap up to that. Some other angles to this story revolves around Tyler trying to do everything he can to keep himself around Luke, because he wants to keep Luke close at hand so that he can eventually hop and skip into Luke's body. But I guess he was also trying to keep Luke close enough to also wear him down, because it's like, if I can wear you down physically and mentally and put you in a very impaired situation, it might be easier to jump into your body, because otherwise, if your faculties are all firing on all cylinders, it's really impossible to jump into your body like I want to. So he tried to take him on like a 2-hour run, then took him for drinks and kind of got him pretty plastered. All for the purposes of trying to jump into Luke's body, but it seems like both times he attempted, they failed miserably. So Luke's defenses are still too up for that to affect him. But it is affecting the company, because Luke was meant to like meet up with August to run through some of the enhancements he's made to their equipment. It's like, right, it's very old school equipment we've had before, but now I'm going to, taking some of what I've learned without, crossing any like non-compete lines, I'm going to advance our technology, and it's going to help us going forward. He even created something. He was like, this is going to make it so that we never get blindsided by something walking into this office that isn't one of us, like something following us back, which is like, sadly, August didn't have that ready before Tyler got here. But once again, whatever Tyler and those other things are, who knows if that'll fully register with August machines, because whatever it is, even Luke can't naturally sense it despite being around Tyler multiple times. But I think there's enough of it that kind of like, if it really bubbles to the surface, because it's buried so deep down that I think if it bubbles to the surface, Luke might notice it. He kind of catches glimpses of it this episode, but that's also because he's so busy. Luke, the thing inside Tyler's trying so hard to get in Luke's body and let his guard down, and Luke was like, wait, what was that? And he's like, what are you talking? We almost lost you there, buddy. Is it Lloyd who works at that place who always gets the drinks prepared. He's like, I'm cutting Mr. Roman off and I'm bringing a cab. I'm like, good on you. It's like, that guy, it's like, yeah, the last thing we need is more drinks poured into Luke to give Tyler what he wants. So it's like, oh, good thing that guy looks out for people. I mean, it probably would have been better if he got to Luke before him, and he probably could tell, like, nah, Luke's kind of losing it and a little wobbly. He knew just the right point to cut off. Once again, would have preferred to have cut it off sooner, but, you know, it is what it is. But August kind of felt like something was up with Tyler. And Luke's putting up with a lot of Tyler's BS just because it's like, it's such a good property and he wants to satisfy him. But Tyler's like, oh, I want this, and these very, very, very specific elements to the house that he wants to buy. And it's trying to use all that to keep Luke close. But it's like close but no cigar type of situation over and over again. So we also just introduced this little element to the story where like Lomax and Susan are working on like that house, and they get some bricks, but there's a symbol on one of the bricks, and it's like, oh, what is this? And Tag's looking into it for them, and he's like, oh, I'll get back to you as soon as possible, Susan. And Lomax is like, you could get back to me too, Tag. And she's like, he's super crushing on you. She's like, I'm not going to date a 20-something. I'm also not dating a coworker. I'm not dating anyone anymore. I'm singling and doing my thing. It's like, oh, okay. So I'm curious to see where the brick thing comes into play. I wonder, will that correlate or connect in any shape or form with the thing inside of Tyler and those other beings like him, or what? I'm also glad Tyler's significant other left because like when he was like, oh, she's like, you don't even notice me, like you're not even the same person. You like get like when I laugh, it seems like you hate me, because he's very sensitive about laughing because Luke did earlier. He's like, are you laughing at me? He's like, don't laugh at me. He's like, just don't. And I was like, wow, he's very sensitive about it. I mean, we because the recap did bring up the fact is he does not appreciate being laughed at because those other beings used to laugh at him. And even the one that was like named Seven was like, yo, if you fail, it's going to be I forgot the exact wording she used, but she was like, it's going to be scornful laughing, and basically oblivion will be kind of a cakewalk for what's next for you if you fail to do what you're promising to do in this situation. So I'm wondering if the whole being laughed at thing has always been a sensitive spot for him. Is it because of those other beings? Does it tie into the Luke and Carl of it or not? But either way, my point was, I'm glad his significant other didn't get killed, because they were standing right in front of the knives. I'm like, is that guy just going to grab a knife and stab her? But like, oh, he didn't. Now, there's always a possibility in the future, like she might try to come back around. She's saying like, I'll send for the rest of my stuff, so I don't think we have to worry about that. But I'm still kind of like, I'm worried for your safety. But it's like, yeah, less people around him, the better. But we'll see. He ended up sending the stuffed animal, that Elvis, the elephant. He ended up sending that to Luke. But Luke doesn't remember it. But when he's staring at it long enough, it puts him in a little bit of a trance where something, like, even though like he slightly saw the eyes when Tyler was trying to, like, the thing inside Tyler tried to jump into his body while they were drinking, but also it's just like, he feels it, but something is blocking that in his memories. It could just also be like trauma of the whole situation was so traumatic that Luke is blocking it, or maybe there's something else blocking it on a more supernatural level. It might be a supernatural block, but it could just be like a trauma response block, a natural trauma response block. So, but yeah, he's like, yeah, I don't know what it is. And he's just kind of like, yeah. So I don't know if the thing inside of Tyler was hoping that he would remember. Because he said, like, oh, I sent it because it was meant to be an inside joke. But, like, it's not as much. I mean, that's the thing. It's lost on Luke. Because I think he doesn't know that Luke doesn't remember. So I'm curious how long it's going to be before we get the full story about what exactly went down between them and Carl, and what led to Carl and Luke putting him in that box and sealing him away and throwing him in the water. Some very, very interesting developments all around. I'm interested to see where all of this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.